Welcome, everyone, to episode 325 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pantelleresco. I write stuff in podcast 2. Today, M. Frances Lamont debuts on the podcast. This is her first novel. We talk her getting into the industry. We just do a really fun little conversation. I've met her online quite a bit. She actually, I think, is a fan of my show, so it was kind of cool to have her. So it was a pleasure. Can't wait to really get into that. My first comics column this week is out. You can go to firstcomics.com. Look up the Just Joshing column. I actually talk about the best of Greg Pak and worst of Greg Pak, as I actually am a big fan of Greg Pak's writing. I really dig it more often than not, but the dichotomy of a comic writer sometimes is interesting. I found one backup story he did in Swordmaster to be amazing, and the one on Narrow not so much, and I tell you why. So that came out this week as well. As I said, I'm treating this year as like, it's kind of like a get-to year. I got more things to do even before I had to work today, before I sparkle that muffin. So before we get into that, let's just go into the conversation, shall we?
Think you have what it takes to survive? Then get your ass to Mars! Get Your Ass to Mars is the latest simulation sensation courtesy of Indie Imprint. You are pitted against the hostile nature of Mars. Can you survive and pave the way for future colonists? Or will you succumb to the many pitfalls and obstacles in your way? Get Your Ass to Mars, the Dragon Edition, is available now on PC and Steam. Go to indieimprint.com for more details.
We're going to try this again.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is take 2. Take 1 involved, I mentioned brownies. And I mentioned procrastination. There was a mysterious dead drug connection.
We'll blame my cat.
Okay, blame your cat. What's you might as well. I mean, the cats are there to be blamed. They kind of frown on us humans anyway. Their lives are incredibly simple compared to ours, but I think there's always that little bit of, I'm better than you because I'm a cat. So they deserve the blame, right?
Well, and mine's named after a comic book supervillain, well, mostly villainous, so I feel that definitely the villainous side is there.
Okay, so what's your cat's name?
Slade Wilson.
Oh, okay. So why did you name him Deathstroke?
Well, because he's got actually the split orange and black face, and I'm a huge fan of Manny Bennett, because he's actually why I write. And so paying homage in a very entertaining cat that he will never meet.
Fair enough. So did you read Deathstroke once upon a time?
I have several of them. I really like the performance on Arrow. I actually have to go pick up a few Deathstroke comics at the Chronicles Cafe in Red Deer. It's coffee, comic books, everything you need with a liquor license, all in one place.
That sounds fantastic. I need to go to this place before I disappear to BC.
You really, really should. It's a great place, and well, I feel that writers hang out there because it has everything. You can be there from open to close. They've got food, they've got alcohol, it's everything.
Yeah, that sounds phenomenal. That really, really does. The closest I've ever been to something like that was when I was in San Diego. My hostel was right beside a comic shop and a block from the beach.
Okay, that's for me that's almost better because I'd go sit at the beach.
Well, yeah. Well, I woke up. I literally could go next door and grab a comic book I wanted to read, and then I could go down to the beach. Life was good.
Perfect.
Life was good. Beaches rule. They really, really do. I don't go to enough of them.
Well, Alberta doesn't really have the best of beaches.
Well, I didn't even think Alberta had anything that resembled the beach.
Well, there's Sylvan Lake, there's Wabamun. Both are great, but not if you've been to like an ocean beach. It's not the same.
Well, here's the thing. Even a Great Lake beach, it's not the same. I'm from Ontario, so Lake Huron has the Pinery. There's we have Rondo Park in the southwest of your going to the Lake Erie vicinity, and Great Lakes are just phenomenal, right? So you go out to those things and you think, damn, those are pretty good beaches. Now you go to the ocean wins hands down. But I don't know. I never think of it. I don't think when I think Alberta beach. You know what I mean? It's just it doesn't feel right.
Alberta, you think mountains?
Mountains, snow, and probably alcohol. That's what I think of. I think of Alberta.
And cows. You gotta have cows.
Sometimes.
Good old Alberta beef.
or some, yeah, well, that's a big thing out here. I wasn't born and raised here, so I mean, only some things really stick out. The fact that you guys have cows here is not one of those things I think about. It's just one of those. It's one of those things where I just go, okay, cool. I mean, she'd be proud of what you make here, no matter what. But it's, for me personally, it's just kind of one of those meh.
Yeah, we have the mountains with the alcohol. We have the cowboys that go with the alcohol, and that's not always a good thing.
And cowgirls that go with the alcohol too, and that's also not always a good thing.
Because I've seen some of those very short shorts, and that takes more bravery than I have.
Yeah, well, it's one of those situations where it's just the way the times have gone. You just kind of go, that's nice, I guess, good for you, and I'm not having what you're having.
There's only one piece of clothing I question anybody wearing it, and it's spandex, because I remember from Hackers, it's a privilege, not a right.
Yeah, fair enough, but spandex is... Well, some people can pull off spandex. Some people pull it off very well. I'm not sure I'm one of those people that would pull off spandex very well. Right? I'm not...
I don't think I would bother to try myself. I've worn it for racing and competitions. It's not comfortable.
No, I imagine, for me, I imagine, the spandex stuff would be ideally for some kind of protection. I'm not sure running is the ideal sport for it. Maybe something with a grappling kind of environment where you're dealing with hard mats, stuff like that, maybe.
Or swimsuits.
Yeah.
It's not covering thing. It's okay, I have to wear something to be, not naked, so I'll wear this.
Yeah, and it's tight fitting, so it doesn't impede you in any way, shape, or form. I get the theory behind it, but it's not my first choice.
I'm not going to wear it to dinner.
No. Or maybe dessert, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. I don't judge. I don't judge anybody anymore. I just I've learned that there is no normal, and I'm okay with it.
If everybody was normal, we'd be the same. It would be incredibly dull.
I don't know what normal is, actually.
I think it only exists in math.
I don't even think it exists there. I think normal truly is hell. That's what I think. I think normal would be totally, if it exists, it's hell. It's because it'd be something where you don't stand out at all. And I think most what?
It's the emotional equivalent of beige.
Yes, or it would be it always would just be nice, because nice doesn't mean anything either.
No. It's dull, it's boring. One shouldn't ever try to be normal.
No, one should try to stand out. I think that's the way it should be. So.
And if the people around you don't like it, find new people.
Or, it's been interesting for me this year, because I've been more I have felt more like an island unto myself more this year, and I haven't really minded it that much. It's interesting to me that I have been allowed to just be myself in my own little space, in my own little time. I think part of that is just because I've been preparing to leave, but I mean, the other part of it, it's just been you're an island unto yourself right now. And I'm okay with that.
I'm in a similar situation. I'm either at work or I'm at home, and when every other week when the daughter is here, that's the focus, and the rest of the time, I don't spend time with people that aren't more interesting than I can be interested in myself. It sounds kind of conceited, but you've got to be worth me giving up quality private time to work, to write, to be, in order for me to want to be around you.
Fair enough. So I guess I should be honored you wanted to come on the show.
I've listened to a couple of your podcasts. I've paid attention.
Yes.
And you're kind of this is not the CBC, so I feel I can relax.
Well, yeah. Oh God, no. I if I ever do make it to network television, it would still be a very how did I was described? You are an unordered presence. I like that.
You're like the Strombolopolis of podcast.
Who? Sorry?
The George Strombolopolis.
Yes.
Say it right.
Okay.
The unorthodox, we're just going to do, and it happens.
Yeah, well, it's just, there's no sense, I've learned a long time ago that the unstructured, I guess, is the word I was looking for, the unstructured presence. It's just one of those things where I just look at it and go, I'm not here to... We're only here, like, I only have talking with you to maybe at most an hour. So I got with you, right? So I can choose to be as confrontational and as bearing as I can, and there are situations where that's called for, but I don't know you that well. And as a result, I'm like, well, I'm just going to give you the opportunity to be you, and I'm going to be me, and we're going to see what happens. And maybe we have a short conversation, maybe we have a long conversation, maybe we have something in the middle, but I just kind of always go in these things with no expectations. Let's just see what happens. And you know what? Most of the time, it's pretty good.
I learned a long time ago, as soon as you start expecting things, you get disappointed.
You have to have expectations sometimes. I don't always think disappointment is necessarily a bad thing. That it exists. I think where disappointment can be a problem is when it gets in the way of going for happiness. All right, happiness is a path of expectations because you're always looking for that next high to make you happy. Whatever, maybe it's a new car, maybe it's a new experience, maybe it's something else. But there's always an expectation with happiness, and that can be very dangerous. That's always a bad connotation of expectations. But I do feel like, for example, I work for a living. And since I do work for a living, I do expect to be treated a certain way while I am working for somebody else. I am giving up my time. They're paying me for it, but I am giving up my time. And money is more replaceable than time is. Ergo, I'm hoping to be treated relatively well. Now, if that is not the case, not only am I disappointed, I change careers.
Good enough.
Fair enough.
I've been joined now by the cat who is not the villain.
Okay.
My daughter, that's Oliver Queen. We have the cat girl in my house.
You have the cat girl in your house? Sorry, then
Cats of Arrow. My daughter named her cat Oliver. He looks like the one from Oliver Company. So we have Oliver and Wilson.
Okay.
We have Arrow.
So who's the leader of the group?
Wilson's the big cat.
Okay.
Little Oliver's only like 6 months old.
Okay, so give that some time and maybe a little bit more size from Oliver, and that might change.
Oh, definitely. He's a little tiger cub, I think.
So how old's Slade?
Slade Wilson, she's going on 2. So they're both still pretty young.
Okay, so it could be a while. Why didn't you name her Rose, like Slade's daughter?
Just kind of the personality-wise. Actually, the Wilson, we call her Wilson. Actually, she's a girl. Her original name was Violet, but just with this split face, I was just like, nope, we're gonna go with Slade Wilson. So the official registered title is Miss Speedy Wilson, but it's just Wilson.
Okay, so Wilson. Well, there's also a Dennis the Menace connotation in there.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I usually get told about the volleyball from that Tom Hanks movie.
Oh, okay. No, we're gonna go classic. I mean, if we're gonna talk about goofballs and getting into trouble, you gotta think of Dennis the Menace and Mr. Wilson. That was always a classic. Well, I grew up watching that cartoon when I was a kid, so.
I read the comics in the papers, deliver the Edmonton Journal, and I'd love the Saturday comics section. Take a little longer to deliver the papers on Saturday because I have to sit somewhere and read comics.
So what was your favorite stuff back in the day?
Oh, For Better or For Worse and Garfield.
Okay. I was a Peanuts guy.
I was a fan of Odie though. I liked Odie best.
Oh, Odie was probably the most surprisingly flexible character. I mean, he could be the dunce, but he also got his. Like sometimes I would enjoy it when he'd get Garfield's comeuppance every once in a while, because Garfield usually deserved it.
Always deserved it.
Yeah.
My older brothers were Garfield fans, therefore I identified strongly with Odie.
Gotcha. For me, it was BC and Peanuts.
Oh yeah, good old Charlie Brown.
That's right. All right.
That's been going on forever. Actually, I have a bunch of the old animated VHS of Charlie Brown.
Yes. No, it was good stuff. My personal favorite was the World War I flying ace fighting the Red Baron.
Oh yes.
I always enjoyed Snoopy's imagination, and the one thing I really loved about the comics that I couldn't get in the cartoon is I could hear Snoopy talk. I really enjoyed Snoopy's observations of the world. You didn't quite get the same thing when you watched the cartoon.
No, they didn't even give him a thought bubble, and that would have been. I would have enjoyed his thought bubbles even if he couldn't talk. Just give him a bubble.
Yeah, but it was just one of those things where I just was like, eh. It's like it lost some of its charm. That all said, I mean that's no matter how you look at it, the Saturday morning cartoon papers were the best.
Absolutely.
So,
They were fun.
So I gotta ask this. So do you bake always to procrastinate on your writing?
No, I do. Like I've got friends that enjoy baking. I grew up in a house. It was with five kids, so it's cheaper to bake, a double batch of cookies than it is to go and buy a box of Oreos. So my mom baked, my grandmother baked, so I learned how to do that as soon as I could stir the bowl.
Ah, okay. So it's would it be like your first passion, I guess?
Probably. Other than, big pretend in the backyard. I used to be Carrie Fisher. Used to be Princess Leia and Deanna Troi back in the 80s and 90s. And when it was winter time, we had to play inside. That was baking time.
Ah.
I have an old Easy Bake Oven, actually. It still works.
So Deanna Troi and Princess Leia, that's an interesting combination. One's a badass. The other one, she was kind of like, she pretty much was like a science fiction sex symbol for a long time, because Lord knows those outfits were not designed to be like uniforms.
No. And it was, having brothers, we would play Star Wars or Star Trek. It was equal opportunity in our house, no heavy favorite, other than the baby brother. But we just played it, and I had the action figure for Beverly Crusher, so I didn't want to pretend to be her because I had her toy, so I had Deanna Troi. And then I get to sit in the power seat on the bridge.
Yes.
So that was my general theory. I had a brother that was Picard, and we had Data, and another brother that was Worf. Baby brother was generally the Klingon, so we'd throw stuff at him. Baby brother he always ended up being the bad guy, just because he was the only one we could force to do it.
Oh man, that might be. I'm guessing he preferred Star Wars.
Yeah, he can talk like the aliens. He knows more about Star Wars than anybody else I know.
So yeah, I could see why you guys just you beat up his love of Star Trek out of him. I want to be a good guy. No, you will be.
Well, his favorite character now, he likes the Mandalorians, Boba Fett, and all that. He likes to be right in the middle. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. A lot allegiance to no one.
Is that's you guys' fault? Your you evil siblings. You basically you beat him into a gray area.
We beat him very close to the dark side.
Yes. That's okay.
That means his children are great nerds.
Yes. No. I could see that. Let me see here. I was thinking about this. So, when did the writing come into play?
Well, actually, we homeschooled up until high school, so I had to do at-home writing projects, and my first full-length story that actually had, beginning, middle, and end I was probably about 8, and it was the monkey millionaires who made millions of dollars selling ice cream. I still have that actually somewhere.
That's fantastic.
So maybe someday it'll be a children's story, but I don't want to give children that unrealistic expectation. You can be a millionaire selling ice cream.
Hey.
But it was funny.
Well, it just has to be funny. It's not about realistic or unrealistic. Again, we were talking about earlier, like, there is no normal. I'm not sure what realistic is either.
True enough.
Yeah, it's one of those words, like, what's real? It's like, I don't know. I mean, the older I get, the less I know about that one. I think I know less about that one than I do about normal.
And you can get scientific, but that gets really complicated.
It does.
It's not worth the complication.
Well, if you go into the scientific, you just get they just come to the point. It's like, we don't know either.
Yeah. If I can make it happen enough times, then maybe that might mean it's real.
It might mean it's real. We're not sure though. It could be something else.
We're all inside the Matrix.
That's right. We're all in a holographic universe. So, I don't know. Like,
someone needs to change the programming.
Come on, programming is based on pi. You know, there's an answer to pi somewhere. Or wait.
40. We'll go with Hitchhiker's Guide and go with the answer is 42.
And the question was 6 by 9. I remember that series well.
Exactly, but no, with writing, it started there, and I have all kinds of papers. We went from writing to drawing and back and forth, and I write the story and draw the pictures to go with it, and they usually didn't end up correlating to each other at all because I couldn't pull the image out of my head like I could pull the words out of my head. So the picture never looked like the story was supposed to. So then I kind of leaned more towards the drawing for years just to try and get that, and I still can't pull an image out of my head and draw. I can draw anything I look at, but I can't pull it right out of my brain. Words, it's much, much easier to pull those out of my brain.
Yeah, you're more comfortable in that format.
Definitely, though I'd love to someday be good enough to illustrate my own work. I don't see that coming in the next few years.
Fair enough. My Stick Figures Revolt, I wrote a story about it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's that the idea that they're revolting against their creator because the creator can't make them look pretty enough.
I would revolt if I was a capable stick figure and I was able to do that. It's kind of,
Well, you know,
breaking the fourth wall, very Deadpool.
Or beyond Deadpool, even just like that. It's just one of those situations. I just like that. You gotta be able to make fun of yourself. I mean, you have to. I mean, in this world, because if you don't, you miss out on a lot of things. If you don't, so I just find that treating things with a sense of levity and just a touch of chaos in the sense that anything can happen is just healthy.
Well, and if you take yourself too seriously, then I feel like you would physically end up being a bit physically too serious, and that leads to things like needing massages and some very serious muscle pain.
Maybe like a random twitch here and there.
Yeah, or muscle spasms. Just not worth it.
No. So, let's see. I met you because I think of an MJ and Colette post. So, you've always been writing, but it sounds to me it became more serious recently.
Yeah, in the last probably about, I'm trying to think here, 5 years or so, actually. How I got back into writing, I'm going to find the date for it. It started with online role-play writing when the first Hobbit movie came out the second one, so it would have been 2013 is when I started writing. There's all the fan pages for all the Hobbit characters, and so we'd all, do our little Dungeons & Dragons style writing instead of dice rolling, and you're just interacting with all the other characters from around the world and throwing little Hobbit parties, and it went from Hobbit to Marvel Universe and eventually into Spartacus.
That's interesting.
It's a strange place to write in.
Yes, that's an interesting detour. Like the attitude's like, okay, I can kind of see it. Universal Spartacus. One of these is not like the others.
Yeah, just a little bit. Well, one is, two are family friendly, and one is you're lucky if you can find somebody who knows what you're talking about when you're referring to Spartacus, the TV series, not, the fantastical Kirk Douglas movie, which is beautiful in its own right and fantastically cinematic, but doesn't pull you in the same way.
No, it's not. They're apples to oranges. I don't know too much about the other Spartacus, but I do know that it's very, very different.
It is very, very. All the blood and gore is like the guy who did Sin City. It's that Frank Miller, I think it was. That there's the blood spatter everywhere, and it's very fantastic and gory. And it was definitely designed to appeal more to men and women. But I know probably about a third of the Spartacus fans I know are females, because the intense relationships in it are just what women love. It's this man, the alpha male, and whether it's the warrior girl or the damsel in distress, it has the relationship for everybody. You just got to find it.
Yeah, and you decided to write stories in this world.
I did. Yeah, we did. There was role play writing for years, and that relationship kind of fizzled after year, really friendships and relationships, especially international ones, when you don't get to see each other and all communication is via typing. It doesn't always last forever. So that ended after several meetings of we went to conventions together in the States and met the cast members from the show, and that's when I decided to take my part of all that kind of writing and all that backstory and make new characters and kind of really recreate it and make it a book instead of just looking like script from D&D writing.
So this
It was too good of a story to let go, but so much stuff had to be changed, so it's been years. Like, I think I stopped writing RP in, 2016, I think, is when I stopped.
Okay.
For Spartacus, so it's been a while. It's been a long time coming, a lot of rewrites.
So why a lot of rewrites? Just getting all the stuff out that you couldn't legally use, or were there other reasons?
A whole bunch of it. It was creating whole new characters, because you never want to use somebody else's writing, and it's just somebody else's style, and even just making something new, and as going through and writing it and making it my voice and taking my stuff and throwing out literally pages of stuff, just digital files are there somewhere, but going over physical papers, and it looked like the CIA had gone through binders of books. But it's to find the true heart of the story and to just bring it out and make all these new characters to go along with other things I created, and to blend it all together, and then going to writing conferences and learning better writing techniques, and you go back and I can fix this, I can make this better. And so, what I started with in the fall started probably the summer of 2016 is so different from what I'm publishing in November. It's almost unrecognizable, because it's so just the evolution of the story and learning to write better and learning the characters more as you go back, as you write them further. Then you got to go back and add more depth to them, and just it's a continual circle.
It can be. It's a very interesting trap to fall into. At some point, though, you gotta make the decision that, okay, this is the best I can do for right now. And
that was around this time last year. It's okay, I can add to the story, but I can't go and change it anymore. I've got to actually, because you can change it forever.
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest traps a lot of new writers fall into.
And I've luckily been very lucky to have a lot of friends in the writing world to, guide me through on this, and, everything from explaining copyright and copyright laws, because, basing it off a TV show, especially Spartacus by Stars, that's huge. And so you take the inspiration from that, and then you gotta make sure it's not the Stars show, and then you gotta make sure that it's all original stuff, and go back, and it's just going through the required rewrites was intense. And then there's all the creative rewrites.
So
I can't publish a book, Spartacus and Crixus, all those guys. I can't do that. Those aren't my people.
No.
And those really, they aren't my characters either. I think my lead character, my lead gladiator, is probably a combination of 4 different Roman gladiator characters from about 3 different movies, with just a little touch of John Wayne. Because I love John. I love John. He's got that swagger, and it's just that I'm the easygoing alpha male. I don't have to prove myself to you because I just am. And that to me is John Wayne.
That is John Wayne. My favorite role for John Wayne, and this is so wrong on so many levels. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Genghis Khan. That movie's...
Oh, that's an oldie.
That isn't a very big oldie. It's terrible.
Oh.
It's not a great...
It was such a bad movie, but it was so bad it was good.
Well, it was so bad because John Wayne was so miscast for this role. It was just one of those things
he had no business on that role.
No, he had zero business on that role. That's part of that. That's the charm of that movie, actually. It's how bad does he not fit in this? And the answer is very much so. It's terrible. But
my favorite of his, I think, would have to be anything he did with Maureen O'Hara. Mm-hmm. So, McClintock, Quiet Man, those are probably the top 2.
Honda's good.
And then Fort Apache, I think, was one of the other ones he did with her that was really, really good.
Honda's a pretty good friend for me, but that's
Yeah.
But like I said, John Wayne was an actor at a time when a lot of, like, he wasn't the only one. There was a couple others from that era where their name just carried a movie. It didn't matter what their role really was. You were paying to see them be them as you knew them. Clint Eastwood was in that role for a very long time.
Sean Connery.
Yeah, absolutely. Bruce Willis was a hit that for a bit.
Until he showed us that he could be funny, like really funny.
Yeah. Although right now his own it might be a while before you see him in a role again, because he lately he seems to be talking himself out of movie roles more than in them. Although I did enjoy him in Red. Although I do hope if they do a Red 3, they go back to a little bit more of the nastiness that was in the first movie.
Yeah, don't make it a buddy movie. Make it just controversy. All kinds of controversy.
Well, did you read the original graphic novel that's based off of?
No, I don't think so.
That is nothing like the movie. It's far, far nastier than the movie is. Like, the only scene that comes close is the first time he meets the current operative and they go at it in a fist fight. That's in the comic. That scene is in the comic book, and almost word for word, right? It's one of those ones where it's just like, okay, that's a badass, but that typifies. And the phone call to the agent with looking at his family. That's the other one that was very, very, very real. It's like, okay, this is him at his nastiest. In the graphic novel, it doesn't end well for him. Like, it just doesn't. Like, what they've turned it into this interestingly.
There's some characters you just can't come back from.
Well, yeah, well, some of those characters weren't in there, not in those roles. Like, you look at Helen Mirren, as much as I think she had a blast in that role. For her, I think it was a relief after playing the Queen of England. But it's one of those roles where it's just like one of those movies where you look at the situation and you look at all the characters in it and you're like, this is a fun movie, but it's not my comic either. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, it's just one of those realities. But go back to Bruce Willis, that's the last thing he's done. Love to see a Red 3. I'd love to see something from him, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
No, I don't. Like, not anytime soon, anyway.
No, it's just the way it seems, and it's just the way it seems to have been going for him, which is unfortunate. But I mean,
well, and he's also not like 45 anymore.
Well, no, he's not. But it's. Yeah, but like I said, that was part of the appeal. It's about the old guys, which I think is really, really, really interesting. It's retired and extremely dangerous. It's like, yes, that was a really, really inspired choice. But then again,
and the nice thing about that is it's something unique because nobody else has been able to pull it off since.
Well, yeah. Well, no, it's a unique idea. Warren Ellis and Cully Hammer deserve a lot of credit for it because those are the creators of that series. That was their idea, and I'm a big Warren Ellis fan. I love his stuff generally. So he's got a good imagination, and so it's not surprising that something like that did well. I'm surprised that's the one that actually like made the hit, but I'm happy for all parties involved. But, I mean, going back to what we were talking about, like, character actors, like, actors immersing themselves into their characters has become more of a thing now than the name value of somebody. That's not always the case. Like, when you look at The Rock today, I mean, you're paying to see him be The Rock. What doesn't really matter what his role is. I mean, he can do something.
Even animated in a Disney movie, he's still The Rock.
Yes. That's who he is. That is who he is.
You take somebody like Joaquin Phoenix, who can go from like Commodus in The Gladiator to Johnny Cash, and now he's going to be the creepiest Joker I think we've ever seen.
Oh, we'll see. Heath Ledger's a really tough act to follow. So we'll
Heath Ledger, I think, was the better actor, but I'm disturbed by the trailer for the Joker. I think it's between the writing and just disturbing of a human being Joaquin Phoenix can be. Heath Ledger will always be my favorite Joker, but Joaquin Phoenix I think will be genuinely like horror movie creepy, not brain twister creepy, because he was the brain twister.
Well, I had so my favorite thing about Heath Ledger's Joker was the stories. Hey, you want to know how I got these scars? And they would tell different stories to each and every person. And I had a really terrifying thought. Like, the first thought I had is, okay, he's a liar. But the second thought I had, wait, what if all these stories are true? That would actually be terrifying.
And would explain why he is how he is.
Yeah, it's like, that would actually be terrifying. Because, yeah, he has all these stories. And they're all tied to that smile, like the scars on his face. And it was one of those situations where I looked at it and said, I think that's actually the more terrifying aspect. But that's the cool thing about... One of the things I don't really particularly like with the idea of a Joker movie is part of the Joker's appeal is the fact that he is such an unknown. The thing about, like, the reason why Ledger's Joker, one of the reasons Ledger's Joker is so terrifying, one of the reasons when you read the comics the Joker can be really, really terrifying is you don't know who he is. You don't know where he comes from. You don't know where he's going. He is simply the thunder. He is the lightning in the thunderstorm. He comes in. He's an absolute. He is the one character that will not change. But everybody around him.
You never know why. With him, you never know why.
Or you don't know anything. You don't know who. You don't know where. You don't know what. I mean, he keeps you guessing each and every time. And part of that appeal is because he is an unknown.
So are we going to now lose some of that mystique with this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
are they going to kill that?
Well, to some degree, they're going to, yes, because what's going to happen is they're going to take a character. It's like, how can someone become this character? And that's not always. I'm not always sure that's the question you want to ask. It's kind of like, how did Anakin Skywalker become Vader? Sounds like a really interesting story. And it could have been, I think, a really interesting story. But when you really look at what matters in Star Wars, it doesn't really matter that Anakin became Vader, other than how or why. The fact of the matter is, right, he became Vader. That's the important part. The reason that's important is because it gives an obstacle for Luke to overcome. Not just Vader as a person or as a force in front of him, but the legacy of his own family and what kind of person he wants to be. The true heroes...
And carrying now into the new movies, it's still, because of who his father was, now all that darkness is still there. And if he had never known that Darth Vader was his dad, what different choices would be in his world?
Well, maybe he would have killed him. Maybe he would have been worse, right? And that's kind of that's the interesting part. That's the only interesting part about when that reveal came. It added a layer to Luke's and Vader's conflict, because it wasn't just no longer about Vader being an Imperial spy, an Imperial agent, and Luke being the hero of the Resistance fighting the great evil. Now it personalized that conflict for both of them. Vader wanting Luke because he's his son to join him. Luke wanting to overcome Vader either by converting him or getting past him because of what Vader actually represents. And that's the important part. Where Vader came from doesn't really matter. And the Joker's the same way. It really doesn't matter where he comes from. And it really... I'm not sure... Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it can be done well. And they definitely got the right guy to play that character from a human being to a madman. That right?
Do we need to know who the Joker was and why he is? We don't. He's so much more fun when we don't know.
He's scary for sure. Like there's a legitimate aspect of terror. You could be him, and you're not sure why. Now, if they can enhance that part, that you could be him, you could be that guy, it could be really good. But if they don't, I'm not sure you make that movie.
Yeah.
You know.
Joaquin Phoenix just kind of creeps me out. Actually, he's the inspiration for the villain for the first three Gladiator books, because it's a 9-part series, and he's one of the main villains up until I think book 6 is when he 7 is when he gets his comeuppance and we get a new villain. But he's an ongoing villain, and it's based on his Commodus character. That, just I will have what I want and nothing is going to get in my way.
Ah, the ambitious.
So creepy. It just lingered, and this character came to life, and I'm like, well, that's who he is. He's just, my twisted version of Joaquin Phoenix put in the world of Spartacus.
Ah.
But could be fun.
Could be. Although, one needs to ask, okay, what's your story actually about? Because it sounds to me like you spent a long time on this story, and you went from being a fan fiction author, which, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Absolutely. There's some great ones.
Oh, absolutely. No, there totally is. But you decided that you would make this your own, whatever that is. And along the way, I mean, your voice would change, not just because of legal issues, but because the more you get to explore on your own, the deeper the rabbit hole goes in terms of what you can come up with, and your breadth and your experience and your techniques change as a result. And suddenly it's not that book. Suddenly it's not that book you remember it anymore. Hopefully it's better. Well, I mean, I haven't read it, so I haven't read.
It's gone from the gory violence. It's actually the romance series.
So
because the element that really appealed to me from the show. I mean, there's the strength of the characters, but it's the interpersonal relationships, and for me, the better way to communicate how those influenced me was to really focus on the romantic relationships. I mean, I'm a girl. I like romance. It's fun. You want the alpha male, the dream guy, all that stuff. Who doesn't want to be swept away?
Hey.
But it was adding layering the conflict in to make it not just another romance story. It's designed to appeal. Like, I have guy coworkers that have beta read it and liked it. I have a woman who's read it who is has a master's degree in English literature, and she has liked it. So it's going I can't say it has mass market appeal, but I'm hoping, I guess, maybe. But it's trying to get something in there for everybody except my mom. She's not allowed to read it.
Well, why is your mom not allowed to read it?
Because it's not a PG romance per se, and
your mom might have a dirtier mind than you.
I know, but if I've told her I'm going to give her a shrink wrap copy. If she wants to read it, we're not discussing those scenes. I can discuss the story. I'm not going to discuss those scenes.
Are you self-conscious about your imagination like that with your mom?
Well, it's more of just I don't know if that's going to be. We tend to have conversations in the strangest places, and it's like I don't think that's the conversation we want to have.
Okay.
I'm sure she's going to read it, but that's just my official thing is don't read my book. You read the other books. Don't read these ones. I've got like 30 books planning to write so far. Any one of them except these ones.
So of course she's going to read these ones, right?
Oh yeah, she's probably going to read them and then hopefully leave me not a bad review.
Oh,
if she leaves one.
Oh come on, she's your mom. She's going to support.
Well, but you got her. She also taught me how to read and write. So, be like from homeschooling and stuff like that. So this is literally, she taught me all this stuff. I mean, not the romance type stuff, but the actual writing and those skills, ground level, came from her. And she's taken writing courses and does that as well. So it's kind of, don't want her to think that I didn't do a good job and that I didn't pay attention in class. But at the same time, I want her to be proud of me. So it's catch-22. The only way she can be proud of me is if she reads the book. But if she reads the book and doesn't like it, I'll be devastated.
Ah, I see. Well, I think
all those stuff.
I think you have to give her the book.
Oh, she'll have it. It just might be shrink wrap.
No shrink wrap. Don't
shrink wrap?
No shrink wrap. You can't do it. You can't do shrink wrap, tape. You can't put it in a package or box. None of that stuff. You gotta give it to her as is. You know why?
Yeah, gotta bite the bullet and give it a shot. Hey.
Not just that. That too. But there's another reason. You trust your mom?
9 days out of 10. Sometimes she's sneaky.
That's okay. So then if you're gonna make a bet, they would make it one of the 9 days. I mean, look. I don't. I mean, you could write a children's book. You could write a pocket book. You could write like one of those I can't remember what they're called right now. Basically, the books with that pop up books. Yeah, a pop up book. It doesn't really matter what you write. The fact is, if she taught you, she's going to be proud of you no matter what is on the page. Now she might not like it, all of it, but that's part of the deal too. You're gonna write things and do things that that aren't just about her, because this is about you. These are your stories and how you tell them. And as a result, sometimes she's gonna be like, I get this. This is what I raised her to be, and sometimes she's gonna be like, what the hell is this? This is all you, and that's fine too, right? It's not about making her happy. It's about making you happy.
I feel like I'm getting some therapy here.
Yes.
We're having a moment.
I think we needed to right there, because it was just one of those things. Unless those things, it's like, no, man, you gotta reward the people that help build you up, and you just have to. I have a copy. My dad's coming up. I have a copy of the magazine I was published in this year, just for him, because he was there for me. Like, he's not a writer. When I was decided I want to be a writer. He was like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, he just let me go. He's like, you know what? I don't know what you're how to help you other than to support you, and I'm going to do that. And so he gets all my stuff because he's my dad, and I love him. And I feel like, I know it's not everything I'm going to send him is going to be his cup of tea. It's not. He is his own man. There are things he likes. And yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I don't mind indulging that a little bit because he is my dad. But it's got to be about me. If it's not about me, on some level, I'm not being honest. It's got to be something I feel, something I connect with, something I believe in. If it's not, then why am I writing it? And I'm not here to please everybody. And I will include some days my dad.
True enough. Yeah, I guess can't write a book for everybody else. I mean, that's kind of why I wrote these ones, is because nobody writes gladiator romance. It's not out there. There's some fantastic Greco-Roman literature. It's just, and it's usually written by men. I don't know of any female authors that write it. There's some fantastic stuff on the Servile War and even stuff about Spartacus historically in fiction. But nobody does the romance, which is what I wanted, so that's why I wrote it. It's just the kind of, I think, more of the embarrassment of mom reading sex scenes that's going to be moments.
Well, it's okay. I mean, as long as she doesn't share techniques with you, I think you're good. I mean,
no, I don't have those kind of conversations with mom. That's just.
I know. I'm just saying. I mean,
one step too far. That's the girlfriends over drinks.
Yeah, I get you. It's just one of those situations where I'm just telling you, right? It's like, as long as it goes there, you're good. You're good. You don't need to worry about it. I think. And like I said, who knows? Your mom might surprise you. Just might.
She might. Well, she's been warned, so I guess she can read it at her own risk.
Okay, that you can do. But that's it. But beyond that, you gotta trust her. That's just the way it is. Otherwise, you're selling her short, and I think a little bit you're selling you short. She made you as good as you are. All right. So I mean, if you're as good as you are, and she's a big part of that, she deserves that thank you.
She might not want to thank you in this book. I might have to put it in one that is more thematic for what she's going to enjoy. That'll be the big thing.
Don't worry about that. I mean, maybe like, let her read it first. Let her decide.
Hopefully she'll make the choice to do it. She's got a long to read list, but maybe her own kid can jump to the top of that.
But I would hope so. I mean, it is. I mean, it is flesh and blood there, right? And I mean, how many siblings did you have? Hello? Hello? Okay.
I think we're back. Can you hear me again?
I heard you. Are you back? You're about to. I think you're gonna go away again. Hello?
Hello.
Okay, I hear you. All right. I think that's our warning buzzer. Yeah, I think we got a warning buzzer. What do you think? Back. Okay. Okay. I feel we are. Okay, you there?
Hello?
Hello. Okay. So, what we're gonna do here, I think, is we're gonna do a quick wrap up because I don't know how many more interruptions we're gonna get. Skype has been, or Facebook. Hello? Hello? Oh man. Try again.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, we may have caught it.
We caught it, but I think this time though, we're gonna finish a little bit of conversation we had left, and we're gonna get to the plugging of your books. I don't know how much longer this thing will hold up. Does that make?
All right, I'm gonna stand still and not move in case it's Wi-Fi in my building.
Okay, so, I mean, your mom obviously, like I said, she helped raise you. She taught you how to write, and you're using her gifts, right? So, I feel like let her decide. Don't worry too much. This is your thing, and no matter what, I mean, she'll be proud of you. Like I have my dad. I have a copy of the sci-fi magazine I was published in earlier this year. When he comes up next week or just the week after, I'm not sure which. It's for him because even though it may not be his cup of tea, I mean, it's a big part of what I do, and it's something that I know he'll support even if he doesn't agree with it. Does that make sense?
It does. I'll let you know what she says because I'm pretty sure, like I said, she's going to read it whether I tell her not to or not. She's my mom. She's going to read it.
All right. So
I'll get back to you and let you know what she says.
Okay. And if I'm wrong, don't beat me, okay? I'm brittle and fragile and stuff.
You'll be in BC. It's very hard to beat you. I'll send some of those unicorns after you.
You send unicorns and hired goons after me? Okay. I just saw a unicorn like glitter cream. Actually, it's a friend of mine tagged me, and it's like, oh no, I'm never gonna live that down now. You know, the unicorn thing. I think it's gonna be with me the rest of my life.
I think it's a good thing. Take it.
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna own it. Sparkle. But anyways, I think Miss Monica, we have an interview here. What do you think?
I think we do.
Okay, so
Fun. I enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, it was nice to actually chat and meet you. So, why don't you plug your book, when you think it's going to be out, and how people can find you?
Our projected date is November 23rd is the Amazon release date.
Awesome.
We're going to have pre-orders available hopefully 2 weeks before that. And hopefully actually a live-action book launch here in Red Deer on the Saturday after it comes out.
So what's your book called?
My book is called The Champion's Prize, and it's under the name M. Francis Lamont. And I have a page on Facebook for that, and soon going to have a Twitter account, and I'm going to do an email out. I've got a novella that's coming out with my newsletter for people that sign up for that. And, first book is out November, second book will be out in May.
Sounds good.
So we're going to have some fun, some hot and steamy gladiator romance. The big tagline is, she claims his heart, can he claim his prize?
Ah, fair enough.
This episode of Just Joshing is sponsored by Indie Imprint. Indie Imprint supports creators by creators. Whether you are writing a book or creating a video game, Indie Imprint works with its clients to produce, edit, and present their projects to the world. For more information, check out their website at www.indieimprint.com.
And that was my conversation with M. Francis Lamont. Definitely check out The Champion's Pledge. First book. Congratulations. Good luck with it. And definitely, M. Francis, you are welcome back anytime you want. Give me a shout whenever that would be. Beyond that, I've been interviewed a couple times the last little bit. I was just a guest on Online for Authors. I was their first interview of the year. It was a lot of fun talking to Jennifer Coughlin. Maybe I'll have her on my show at some point down the road. That'd be kind of cool. So if you want to listen to that, go to onlineforauthors.org. You can definitely check out my interview there. And that'll do it for this episode of Just Joshing. If you want to support the podcast, you can do so in a number of different ways. You can subscribe to the podcast. I'm on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podomatic, and a bunch of other platforms that you can just whatever you find and subscribe, share, and tell your friends about this podcast because it's awesome. I have my column at firstcomics.com. Definitely check them out if you want to read it, talk about comics and entertainment in a variety of fashions. My books, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, Wandering God, available through Mirror World Publishing. I have merchandise. That's right. If you want to wear a unicorn that says Sparkle Sparkle on it, you can definitely go to jpenteloresco.redbubble.com. I got stuff there. I got Just Joshing memorabilia as well. Definitely don't be afraid to check it out. Let's see. My YouTube channel is Joshua Penteloresco. My Twitter and Instagram is at jpenteloresco. Feel free to say hi, comment. You know, I'm available just for a chat for whoever and whenever you like. But above all else, guys, stay inspired, keep doing your thing, and I'll see you guys next time.
Josh.